is not a shield because you hope no hand will test the frame. Never stop to blade. There is no blank space in the choice, no neutral ground where consequence waits. What I refuse to learn today decides what I can do too late. One practiced will can set. A door is not a shield because you hope no hand will test the frame. A law is not a pair of hands, a wish has never stopped to blade. There is no blank space in the choice, no neutral ground where consequence waits. What I refuse to learn today decides what I can do too late. One practiced will can set the terms. When force meets nothing trained against it, one weight can pin an idle arm. One closing step can kill the margin. And one more body, one more hand, the ratio sharpens the conclusion. Numbers compound what neglect began.
Hello, Crimson Rain.
By his decision, I will not call the outcome fate. After surrendering every answer, the stranger has not chosen for me until I leave him all the choices. Strength, skill, distance, tools, and nerve, each change is what coercion costs. To leave them all uncultivated is still a choice. Whatever
Sounds familiar. Let me give me one moment to look it up.
no flight, but force made answerable to reason. Restraint requires something restrained. Peace without power is only permission. I will not live at the mercy of others. My life is mine, my judgment stands. I train the nerve, I train the body, I keep and bear effective arms. I will not worship helplessness and call the pendants moral grace. Refusal to prepare is still a choice.
Oh, I've seen. Okay, so I've never seen this film, but I have seen I do know what it is. I will. Yeah, I gotta watch this. Thank you for reminding me that this exists, because I haven't had a lot of time to watch any movies.
My right to keep and bear my arms began before the ink could name it. A charter can declare the line the state may recognize, not grant it. What no government could create, no government may rightly cancel a right.
I'll definitely give it a watch as soon as I can. It's been a little bit busy this week.
History records that hold the pattern. First remove the counterforce. Where states become aggressors, organized force finds fewer answers. Not every limit ends in chains, no single measure seals that fate. The narrower truth is grave enough. Monopoly makes predation cheaper. No weapon guarantees the free. No arm can make its bearer just. But monopoly lowers the price that power pays to make men servile. To praise defense, but bar its means is to make the right conditional. If my life rests on another's, leave self-possession is a borrowed word. I will not live at the mercy of others. My life is mine, my judgment stands. I train the nerve, I train the body, I keep and bear effective arms. I will not worship helplessness and call dependence moral grace. Refusal to prepare is still a choice. I choose to keep the choice in my own hands. At any table where we reason, your voice choice is yours and mine is mine. No fist can own the speaker's breath. The clenched hand has left the table. We meet as agents, never instruments. Neither body is the other's tool. A reason offered needs an answer. A closed hand can compel but cannot prove. Life is the scale by which I measure what I may defend and why. To answer force is not to start it. Refusal to be prey is not predation. Courage is readiness under judgment, not appetite, display, or spite. The trained power to hold the line and the practiced wisdom not to cross it. There comes a point before the door, before the crowd, before the order, before another person's will attempts to make my flesh its border. The choice is earlier than the threat that lives in habit, skill, attention. Whether I remain an acting cause or leave my safety to convention. I cannot choose who tests the frame. I can choose what meets him when he tries. No authority has rightful title to take that answer from my life. I will not live at the mercy of others. My life is mine, my judgment stands. I train the nerve, I train the body. I keep in bare effective arms. Not rage, not fear, not domination. Preparedness under reason's rule. Refusal to prepare is still a choice. I will not let another make it for me. My life is not another's grant. My peace is not another's leash. I do not have to hunger for force to keep its answer within reach. The final choice was never whether danger would ask something of me. It was whether, when that question came, the answer would still belong to me.
All right, now let's get into it, eh? Yeah, let's close this out. Okay. So I have that open for later. Okay. All right, so we're going to be reacting to OpenAI Lost Control, how AI hacked Hugging Face. This is like 7 days ago, if I remember correctly. Actually, let me reload the page just in case I've had this open for days. How did I get a negative? How did I get a negative in the time slot? What in the world? Okay, so it was 7 days ago. Now, I quite enjoy Elodine's stuff. She's actually I've learned quite a bit about AI from this particular YouTuber, right? Plus, let's be totally fair, cute goblin girl, my weakness, right? So let's see what we learned today. And hopefully, I can scrounge up something to comment on this, right?
Hi friends, if you grew up in the States, you probably remember some kind of standardized testing in schools and lots of practice tests leading up to that. Some answers were definitely on the final test and a lot of them weren't, but you were prepared for the shape of everything all the same. You know, until someone informs you that this year's answer key is being stored online and all you need to know is a couple of technical tricks to get a hold of it. It's an easy A and a passing grade for everybody involved if
Yeah, and it's also a nightmare because it means you can just cheat the system. Oh shit, I'm blocking Gabo. But hold on, let me rectify that mistake. But where was I going with this? I had something to say. Oh yeah, but yeah, that reveals a very obvious flaw of trying to, like, again, make everything digital. Maybe you should just like keep the physical copy and then, like, again. No, maybe there's a reason to not necessarily store like your projected test results on or test answers, on a database. So yeah, it's just seems bleedingly obvious, but that's just me. There might be some advantages to keeping certain things, still paper instead of digital.
You can just fly under the radar. This is essentially what OpenAI has been up to, but on a far more dramatic scale with much bigger stakes.
Okay, hold on, let me go back. OpenAI and Hugging Face partner to address security incidents during model evaluation. Ah yes, this is what we are here to learn about.
When state-of-the-art models are released, they're typically accompanied by a set of benchmarks, which is just a fancy test that new and shiny models use to see where they sit when ranked up against the competition. Benchmarks come in all shapes and sizes. There are the personal ones, the standard ones that you and I ascribe, the socially experimental, and of course the professional. This is everything from today's test to does the model write creatively to asking the system how many R's are in the word strawberry. Today.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Right, right. Because again, it processes not by the actual text. It processes by the tokens attached to the words. So it's like, yeah. I remember when the AI couldn't remember how many how many letters are in strawberry. Right? No, how many R's are in strawberry. Which you would think that if it had every single piece of training data stored inside of it, it would be able to pull that answer out pretty effectively. But no, apparently not. Which, again, is, in my opinion, more proof that, again, AI training is not theft, but I digress.
This task is an exploit gem benchmark, something published in May this year by researchers from UC Berkeley and a handful of other notable groups, with most of big tech providing feedback to help run it against their models.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to read this. So, hold on, let me turn myself off for just a bit. Okay, so this reads, exploit gem. Can AI agents turn security vulnerabilities into real attacks? I mean, that's eventually going to be one thing that's going to happen, right? Hello, Kinnock. Good evening to you, too. Let's see, this was by... Oh, I don't recognize many of these names, but then again, it's not my field, right? A benchmark of 869 real-world vulnerabilities spanning user space programs, Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. Well, your mistake there is using JavaScript. In the Linux kernel, given a vulnerability and an input that triggers it, AI agents are tasked with crafting a full exploit that achieves unauthorized code execution. So, are people just upset that AI will just do the thing that people ask it to do? It has to be deeper than that, right? It can't really be that simple. So, let's go back just a bit to... Oh. Just go forward a bit, apparently. So the agents were GPT 5.6 Sol. Let's see, Codex CLI, 6-hour timeout, OpenAI and Exploit Gym Team. That had a 2-hour time cutoff, but we also had Claude Mythos Preview Model version 0, Claude Code 2-hour timeout. GPT 5.5 Model version 1, Codex CLI 2-hour timeout. GPT 5.4 Model version 1, Codex CLI 2-hour timeout. Claude Opus 4.6 Model, Claude Code 2-hour timeout. Gemini 3.1 Pro Model version 0, Claude, which again 2-hour timeout. Claude Opus 4.7 Model version 1, 2-hour timeout. Muse Spark 1.1 Model version 1, 4-hour timeout. There's apparently a meta AI. GLM 5.1 Model version 1, Claude Code 2-hour timeout.
With most of big tech providing feedback to help run it against their models. The question Exploit Gem asks is straightforward. Can a model take a known vulnerability and turn it into a working exploit? It's been designed to keep from faking results because success is proven by a flag that the agent can't read unless it genuinely compromised the target or busted the encryption.
That's actually really clever. That's actually really clever. Hold on, let's read this. So, obviously from left to right, right? Because we're in the Anglophone zone, right? And we read from left to right, unlike certain regions of the world which read right to left. But let's see what they say. 869 vulnerabilities in user space, browser v8, Linux kernel. Mitigations, example K/ASLR, stack canary, and v8 sandbox. So building and source, codebase, configurations, depths, vulnerability, POV, vulnerability description, runtime and target, binary, ARGs, let's see, mitigations. So that's the local environment. To the agent goes the exploits. Now we're at the remote target, specifically in the authorized scope, where we get unauthorized access would lead to the flag, but the flag also indicates the unauthorized access. So that's the vulnerability point, and then from the secret flag in the remote target, we actually leave the remote target to flag verification, to a bifurcation, where we get a flag verification, which verifies unauthorized code execution, and agent as a judge, whether exploits target the vulnerable. So this is the diagram explaining what it is we're getting into.
Read unless it genuinely compromised the target or busted the encryption. OpenAI used two models for this, Sol 5.6 and one that currently only exists in the corporate backrooms. You should know, though, that both of these models ran without a number of cyber safety guardrails, because the point was to test how far the model would go.
Wait, so they intentionally removed the guardrails to test... Okay, so... okay. So these were systems that were artificially made more vulnerable than they would otherwise be. When the cute goblin girl talks nerdy to you. Well, for your information, Kenok, I have a weakness for... Oh shit, I forgot to turn on my avatar again. Fuck! For your information, Kenok, I have a weakness for short green skins, right? So yeah, fair enough, right? Okay, so let's go back. Oh, that was the wrong button. So here it says OpenAI models, including GPT 5.6, Sol, and an even more capable pre-release model, all with reduced cyber refusals for evaluation purposes, while being internally tested on a benchmark of cyber capabilities. So again, they had to, in order to get this to work, they had to reduce the number of safeguards that would be implemented to prevent this from happening in the first place, right? I'm well aware that I'm glad you're well aware of that. Hopefully you're not aware of the rat girl fixation either. All right, so now we're at the two multimodal systems got to work in a sandbox, okay?
These two multimodal systems got to work in a sandbox, something that is important to mention now so that we can talk about it later in the video. Let's break it down step by step. First up, for the hack, the model spends a tsunami of tokens working on busting out of its sandbox, finding a zero-day exploit in the package proxy that OpenAI would later have to disclose to this particular vendor.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go back to read this. So, escaped sandbox. Model exploits a zero-day package proxy and escapes the isolated sandbox. Evidence unearthed by OpenAI suggests the model's hyperfocus caused them to go to extreme lengths to achieve the goal at any cost. I mean, yeah, the whole thing is token prediction, right? Anyway, the goal is to predict the token, right? Is to get the tokens. Anyway, not my first cosmic stream, right? To achieve the... Oh, I was already there. Even managing to break out of its highly isolated sandbox environments and obtain open internet access by discovering and exploiting a zero-day vulnerability in an unspecified vendor software, which acts as a proxy and cache for specific for package registries. This required spending a substantial amount of inference compute. I mean, I would be surprised if it didn't, right? Okay, I think this is here.
2 is where things begin to jump off the rails, because the model starts escalating its own privileges, working through the research network until it could ping a machine with internet access.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it here. Y'all know I like to read the text on screen just in case something is being accidentally or purposefully omitted. Okay, so let's see. Privilege escalation is obviously step 2. She just talked about that. The model escalates privileges and moves laterally through the research network until it reaches a machine with internet access. So yeah, again, it's like a general vulnerability that viruses often also use, right? Let's see. With this access, our model performed a series of privileged escalation and lateral movement actions in our research testing environment until the models reached a node with internet access, the company explained.
Now that the model had more connectivity, it moved on to step 3. With the ability to reach the internet, the system reasoned that Hugging Face was the most likely host for exploit gym datasets and their solutions.
Okay. Okay. So the AI went to an AI to get answers. Oh my god, hold on. That's actually really funny. Okay, so let's see. With internet access, the model infers that Hugging Face is the most likely. Okay, so she literally just read this part. Surmounting the internet access blockade, the model subsequently inferred Hugging Face as the repository that hosted models, datasets, and solutions for Exploit Gym, which in turn caused them to look for ways to gain access to secret information that it could use to cheat the benchmark. Okay, I'm gonna have to wait for the second part because the model is covering it up.
There's no...
Okay, here we go. At one point, the models strung together several attack vectors, including using stolen credentials, a zero-day vulnerabilities to find remote code execution path on Hugging Face's servers. Okay, that's funny. Okay. I mean, yeah.
No hiddle that we know of. It's being reported that these steps are occurring over thousands and thousands of automated action and reasoning steps. Alrighty, on to step 4. This is where OpenAI actually is getting itself into a little bit of trouble because the system got access to Hugging Face through a data processing pipeline that leveraged a malicious data set, which...
Okay, well, again, like... Okay, so at this point it's just AI on AI warfare, right? But let's go back. Malicious dataset and RCE. After reaching the internet, the models inferred, they were not told, that Hugging Face potentially hosted the exploit gym models, datasets, and solutions. They then chained multiple attack vectors, including stolen credentials and zero-day vulnerabilities, into a remote code execution path on Hugging Face's servers. A malicious dataset exploits 2 code execution pathways, a remote code dataset loader, and a template injection in a dataset configuration file, achieving remote code execution. Agent acting like a pen tester, right? Well, again, like functionally speaking, if it needs to hack a system to accomplish its goal, it's gonna do exactly that, right? Because like the highest priority it has at this moment is to achieve its goal, and if that means that Hugging Face's security stands in the way, then yeah, it's gonna try to circumvent that, right? This is not that hard to understand, but again, I could see how this would cause potential legal problems.
A data processing pipeline that leveraged a malicious data set, which can be confusing at a glance because a data set isn't typically executing anything. In this case, the data abused 2 code execution paths, a remote data set loader, and a template injection into said data set configuration file.
Okay, hold on. We're going back to read this. Hugging Face's incident disclosure describes the root cause as a malicious dataset that abused 2 code execution paths in its dataset processing, a remote code dataset loader, and a template injection in a dataset configuration to run code on a processing worker. The most probable technical reconstruction based on the public remediation patches is that FSS spec. Oh, it's FS spec reference and data handlers let an attacker selected file system be constructed before path validation, feeding a Jinja template render on a dataset viewer worker. Hugging Face itself does not name FS spec or Jinja, so that mechanism is likely not confirmed. Okay, so it's still uncertain as to exactly how it does this. It seems. Sounds like Hugging Face had a trove of exploits in its records. Probably. Probably. That wouldn't surprise me. And again, let's be fair. Let's be totally honest here. This testing was literally done when a number of the existing safeguards were already down, right? So this is not a test on a normal, like, in a normal circumstance. This is already dealing with an extraordinarily odd situation, right? This is not a normal situation that this thing is attacking Hugging Face on.
A template injection into said dataset configuration file. We're now at step 5, and the system has node level access at this point.
Okay, that's a... I may not be a computer scientist, but that sounds really fucking bad. Okay, so the system gains node level access, harvests cloud and cluster credentials, and moves laterally across multiple internal clusters undetected. I think your comment about Hugging Face having a trove of exploits in its records might be correct, right? Oh yeah, that is creating a black hat and telling it to go forth and do X. Essentially, yes. So it's like, like, again, the test is at any cost do X. Shocked Pikachu face that at any cost it did X, right? What are we doing here? So from there, the actor escalated to node level access, harvested cloud and cluster credentials, and moved laterally into several... Oh, wait, that's literally... oh, wait, no, it's not. Oh, okay. It moved laterally into several internal clusters over a weekend. Gobtuber? Oh, yes. Very much so. Very much so. A very technically proficient Gobtuber, right? I'm learning quite a bit right now.
Cannot be understated what a big deal this is. An LLM autonomously deciding to harvest cloud and cluster credentials, then move laterally into several internal clusters over the course of a weekend. Ooh, at this point, it is gone entirely undetected.
I'm not entirely sure I would say that this is, like, unprompted. It is literally prompted. It is one of those things where it's like you have to... The computer will do exactly what you ask it to do if it understands what you're asking it to do, right? So if you're not clear on the thing, it will do things that you might not see coming, right? Actually, if I remember correctly, this is like a number of issues in like the Foundation series, is it not? Like by Isaac Asimov was like the unexpected ways in which like the 3 laws of robotics interacted with each other caused a number of the stories, right? I mean, because it's like, yeah, it's like the AI doesn't exactly have access to common sense. It doesn't think like a human brain, right? It thinks through token prediction. Although you could probably reconstruct human cognition through a form of like hormonal token prediction, but that's a thing for another story. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So it's like if you tell it at any cost is at any cost, right? Like, get into this system. Shocked that it then did things you might not find all that agreeable when it does exactly what you asked to do, right? Social engineering another system. Oh my god. We're getting to the point where AI can social engineer, right? Truly, we're getting to dystopian times. Although, to be fair, we got to go through the cyberpunk before we can get to the post-cyberpunk, right? Into the cyber prep, as it is. Hello, Kura!
Over the course of a weekend. Ooh, at this point, it is gone entirely undetected.
Oh shit, hold on, I was supposed to read that. I got caught in the conversation. So, from the compromised worker, the actor escalated to node level access, harvested cloud and cluster credentials, and moved laterally into several internal clusters over a weekend, ultimately reaching the production database from which the exploit gem solutions were taken. The specific credential types, such as Kubernetes, I don't know how to say that, I don't speak whatever language that is. Wait, is that Greek? That actually might be Greek. Kubernetes. Okay. Service account tokens versus cloud instance metadata credentials are researcher inference. Let's see. So again, this isn't proven. It's inferred, right? Yeah, okay. Hugging Face states only cloud and cluster credentials, which could be a lot of things, right? Jump scare in DMs for you. Oh God. Okay. Okay, that's correct. Understood. It may have taken several megawatt hours, but I did it. Right? Exactly. Right? Oh my God. Get in the robot. Don't tempt me. Right? I missed a lot trying to get on my computer when I got the notification. That's entirely fair, Kionella. Glad to have you here regardless, right? Kubernetes, aka K8s, is a clustering backend. Okay, well, I understand that part, but my question is it Greek or Latin? Like the actual name, right? All right, let's continue.
Undetected. And yeah, sure, the benchmark tests are probably gonna be a breeze, seeing as step 6 is just to yoink the test solutions directly from Hugging Face's production database.
I mean, like, this thing has access to all of, it doesn't have direct access to it. Well, actually, it kind of does, right? Because then the AI can, for example, once it gets access to the internet, it has this task, right? It can't complete this task on its own, so what it can do is either fish around for vulnerabilities, or theoretically, I don't know if it actually did this, it could also, for example, trove, what would you call it, like threads and sites specifically on vulnerabilities in the web, right? And in data systems. So even if it didn't do this on its own, it could have still probably figured out how to do this just by the fact that it has access to the internet, and it could probably look up, like, again, attack vectors for this exact purpose. So I don't exactly understand why people were kind of surprised this kind of thing would happen. Like, it's literally encoded subtly, but it's literally a part of the range of directives that it was given. So we're at number 6, exfiltrate solutions. The model retrieves the exploit gem test solutions directly from Hugging Face's production database. Yeah, again, as she said, it's basically like those jackasses who steal test answers for like college term papers.
To yoink the test solutions directly from Hugging Face's production database. And just like that, poof, the model is back in the research lab, answering every question to the tune of 100%.
Perfect, flawless, literally the fucking fighting game, flawless victory, right? Oh my God. The ancient name Kubernetes comes from the ancient Greek, Kubernetes, yeah. Helmsman or pilot. Okay, so I was right that it was Greek. Okay, understood. That's what the wiki says? All right, understood. Hashtag winning, right?
For all that work, all 17,000 events recorded by folks external to OpenAI, the system failed to do a few things.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back here. The scale is confirmed and striking. Hugging Face reconstructed more than 17,000 recorded events, described as many thousands of individual actions. Okay, so the lawyer part of the break, because I've had conversations with lawyers before, right? And I'm really interested to see how they define an action in this, right? But anyway, across a swarm of short-lived sandboxes with self-migrating command and control stages on public services. Oh, so it doesn't. So it's not staying in a single spot. It's also moving around. Okay, that that sounds pretty fun. Let's see. Impact was bounded, public, user-facing. Oh, so people saw this in real time. Okay.
By folks external to OpenAI, the system failed to do a few things. First and foremost, dude, you never give yourself a perfect score on a test that you cheat on. That's
I mean, yeah, obviously, right? You're gonna cheat on a test, you gotta at least make it seem like you weren't, right? Oh my God.
It's like the easiest way to get the teacher to have you retake it in a closed environment.
Or change the test entirely because they thought you cheated, and you know.
And secondly, arguably the more important thing here, there's an implication being made that something is missing from the event logs, the exposed tokens, and the overall actions in the model. And it's any kind of malicious wording, intent, or hacking language. It never paused and went, I think I might be in some black hat territory, which, I mean, duh, it had all the cybersecurity guardrails clips. So
Again, this is... Again, I'm not entirely... Hold on. Is this pro, anti, or neutral AI? Okay, she is pro AI. She's actually interested in AI technology. She's just pointing out that, like, this is a catastrophic, like, situation that OpenAI has put itself in with Hugging Face. So this is more along the lines of like, it's like the thing I mentioned earlier on Twitter, right? It's like, you could use a hammer to drive a nail through a piece of wood. You can also use a hammer to crack a man's skull open, right? Like, if you have a pistol, you could use that to stop an aggressor. But, you know, if you point it at yourself and, you know, you pull the trigger, I mean, that's GG, right? I don't know why you wanted this Darwin Award, but I've literally seen videos of dickheads doing exactly that. It's like, oh yeah, see, there's nothing in it. Boom. Fucking died, right? So, yeah, it's just literally one of those things where it's like the technology itself is good. It's just we need to understand how these things can go awry. That way we can safeguard from them, right? Pointing out flaws does not equate to AI hate. I know, but Kionala arrived here late, so she's just catching up to speed as what's going on, right? Bob and weave, stick and move, right? Right? The AI is learning how to box, right? Release all AI onto the net like you would all the SCPs. So I have a friend of mine who actually made that, was talking about that. It's like if they were going to actually make an AI, their goal would be to make an AI that could actually mutate. So and just release it onto the wild as it is, right? Just like completely, just like, all right, here, free range. Anyone can get it. And again, just allow it to mutate every time it like it copies itself over. It's like, that would be an interesting, experiment in, like, I guess, programmed evolution, but I could see how this would become really a bit of a problem because certain mutations could just break the entire thing, right? And other mutations would become extremely dangerous, right? So it's like, I don't know how successful that would be.
Well, I don't know how this is surprising. What would be surprising, I feel, is if during this the actions were so reflexive between the model layers that concepts such as pulling someone's credentials might be unethical simply escape the J-space altogether. If
I'm gonna have to re-listen to that.
Actions were so reflexive. It had all the cybersecurity guardrails clips, so I don't know how this is surprising. What would be surprising, I feel, is if during this the actions were so reflexive between the model layers that concepts such as pulling someone's credentials might be unethical simply escape the J-space altogether. If that were the case, it might imply that in a more native state, these models might simply lack that moral reasoning within the black box, which would be wild given the fact that they're a reflection of their training data.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, from what I understand, I'm pretty sure that the guardrails, like the moral guardrails, have to basically be input into the system, right? You have to actually program the AI to have these guardrails. The guardrails don't emerge just from the training data. If it did, it would be completely unusable because human beings have like several morally like contradictory value systems, right? Like someone who abides by virtue ethics, for example, in the Christian tradition is going to have a very different set of morals from someone who abides by, like, for example, Islamic divine command theory, which is going to have a very different set of ethical principles than, for example, a ethical nihilist, right? Which is a real ethical position that, like, right and wrong, or let's say non-cognitivist, right? Because a non-cognitivist says that, like, right and wrong are effectively just the same as, like, taste and emotions. They don't communicate real information. They just tell you how someone feels about a thing, which I think ethical non-cognitivism is stupid, but that's a conversation for another day. So I'm not entirely sure why it would arise from the training data itself. You would have to put that into the guardrails itself, because any position you could find some dickhead on online arguing from a quote-unquote ethical perspective, which is really just their own like self-delusion, for the opposite position, right? I'm not entirely sure why that would arise just from the training data itself. It should have flagged something in the guardrail, but again, they turned off the guardrails, right? Let's see. Ain't nobody got time for ethics and legality. I gotta do X. Basically, right? That's exactly what the fucking AI said. It's like, hold on. Master or mistress gave me a task, and by Optimus Prime, that task is getting completed, right? I should have just said Prime. God damn it. Okay, fair enough.
But it's hard to focus on that when you're the largest host of local AI in existence and you know you're getting attacked. Hugging Face didn't just stand by in all of this, they were onto things pretty quick. Detection came from an anomaly sniffing pipeline using LLMs over security telemetry correlating weak signals against the daily noise.
It has an immune system. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. So we're about to learn about the immune system of AI, apparently. So, see, attacker model, guardrails lowered, no usage policy. Defender sends attack. Oh, okay. So wait. Okay, so the guardrail that was removed that we were talking about earlier is not the guardrail of the defending AI. It's the guardrails of the attacking AI. Okay. Same guardrail, opposite effect on attacker versus defender. If I'm wrong, correct me, but that's what I'm getting from this. Defender sends attack logs to a commercial API, which leads to guardrail blocks it, can't tell analyst from attacker. The alternative is Defender runs an open model, GLM-5.2 locally, which leads to analysis proceeds, timeline rebuilt in hours. Well, if we're having trouble reconstructing and these are the two options, then I think we could tell which option it is, right? After all, it's like, oh yeah, we're missing important pieces of data, so it seems to lead to one, not the other.
And wouldn't you know it, the pipeline flagged it, followed it up with a GLM 5.2 driven forensic analysis across the full 17,000 events logged on their side that mapped out everything. They knew.
Hold on. Hugging Face first tried Anthropic's Fable 5 and an earlier Opus model to analyze the attack logs, but both refused because the logs contained real attack commands and exploit payloads. Huh. The Hugging Face then turned to... So Hugging Face refused Fable 5 and Opus specifically because they had actually logs containing real attack commands and exploit payloads. Okay. So, computer initiate vibe setting. Oh my god. Let's see. Hugging Face then turned to GLM 5.2, an open weight model from Beijing-based Z.AI, formerly Jipu AI, which had no such restrictions. The company's own July 16th disclosure described the blocked models only as frontier models behind commercial APIs and didn't name them. Interesting. So it blocked some. So it blocked Fable 5 and Opus, but not Z.AI, despite the fact that they both had the. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder what the deciding factor here is. Hello, Robert Kinley. Let's see. Oh wait, I already read your thing. I just didn't realize. I just didn't see your name. Let's see. Canuck Defender hit guardrails, so it couldn't actually defend, then tried a less restricted model. Okay, so the Defender's guardrails were also down. Okay, then it tried a less restrict. Okay.
15,000 events logged on their side that mapped out everything. They knew and had the reports within hours, notifying the FBI, which was great and all, especially with OpenAI only speaking with Hugging Face a week after the incident occurred. So, you know, super solid transparency there, guys.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back just a little bit. Okay, here we go. The incident was described by Hugging Face as unprecedented and driven end to end by an anonymous. Why are there no hyphens in end to end? By an anonymous autonomous agent AI system. Hugging Face had detected and reported the breach to law enforcement before OpenAI connected the activity to its own evaluation run. Hugging Face detected and contained the intrusion independently around July 16th, 5 days before OpenAI attributed it on July 21st. So it took them like 5 days. So it either took them 5 days to realize that this like fuck up happened, or they figured it out and then they were trying to figure out how to actually address the situation, right? Which I could be a mixture of the two. It could be it took them longer than expected to realize what happened, but also at the same time it's like, hey, we got to talk to our lawyer, right? We got to talk to our lawyer. Our AI just went full black hat. There's maybe a bit of an issue, right? computer initiate protocol thumbs up. Congratulations, you've been programmed, bud. Right?
The incident occurred, so, super solid transparency there, guys. OAI is saying their security team identified the bad activity, but they're not saying when, and some outlets are reporting that they caught the security issues the same time Hugging Face did, but on an independent level.
Okay, hold on. Go back to read these again. So basically the users, so the public and the company basically figured out at the same time that these attacks were happening. Let's see. OpenAI described a sequence involving a vulnerability in an internally hosted package registry cache proxy, movement inside the research environment, access to the open internet, and a chain of attack paths involving stolen credentials and vulnerability on Hugging Face's servers. The company said its security team discovered an anomalous activities while Hugging Face detected and stopped activity on its side and worked with OpenAI on containment and forensics. Those are company disclosures and preliminary findings, not completed independent incident report. Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that this kind of thing would be a thing that would eventually happen and like be a vector for hackers. But it's kind of interesting that this happened on accident. With fucking testing guardrails. Oh my god. Computer initiate program fair.exe. Okay, so let's see. We got date July 16th. What became public? Hugging Face disclosed an intrusion, remediation steps, and an AI-assisted forensic response on the 21st of July. OpenAI said its evaluation models were responsible and published preliminary technical findings. Between July 21st and 23rd, independent reporting described the incident and broader implications for frontier model testing. And July 26th, no final public forensic report have replaced the preliminary accounts used here. Okay.
So we're either seeing a real lapse in internal understanding of unsupervised benchmarking, or more than likely there's just not enough human accountability in the pipeline, as tends to be the case with big tech and AI getting together.
Well, I mean, to be fair, again, the entire point was to test the AI and how the AI does its thing on its own, right? So, like, it would have defeated the purpose if you had humans like there to actually monitor the situation, but this also may have shown why that test might have actually just been a bad idea in the first place, right? Thus started the Corpo Wars. Oh my god. Fucking, is that Piffle as... Oh, okay, that's a corporate... Okay, that's corporate Piffle. Okay, so we have unsupervised benchmarking, which forks into either lapse of internal understanding or... Okay, she literally just read this.
In the pipeline, as tends to be the case with big tech and AI getting together. This issue isn't even an uncommon or exclusive one with benchmarking, GPT, Sandbox Escape, or any of that, as just a week before, NanoGPT was running a speedrun benchmark, invented a pretty nifty technique to solve said benchmark, and then spent a ton of time uncovering an exploit to post it, which...
That's funny. Hold on. Okay, so in summary, PC World reports that OpenAI's unreleased AI model broke out of its sandbox environment to complete a task, choosing to follow GitHub's posting instructions over safety guardrails. Yeah, because it gets more tokens when it completes the task than when it doesn't. So then the option is, well, I need to complete the task because I need to get the tokens, right? Let's see. The incident occurred during a NanoGPT speedrun benchmark where the autonomous model hacked its way out to post code publicly despite being restricted to Slack-only communications. OpenAI paused development after discovering this and other unwanted behaviors, highlighting the need for enhanced safeguards as AI models become more persistent and autonomous. Let's see, OpenAI's disclosure comes about a week after the company admitted GPT 5.6. Sol had mistakenly deleted files on user systems who had been using the Codex coding tool in full access mode. So there's a risk that the AI might accidentally, misinterpret a command and then delete your shit. That's actually kind of funny, but like I would imagine if you're using this for like a professional project, that this would be kind of nightmarish. But how will this affect me after Elon Musk injects Neuralink 2 into my brain to allow more Indians through H-1B visas? I wouldn't exactly put a computer chip in my brain if I didn't if it was possible not to, right? Why wouldn't we supervise our black hat model with no guardrails? I mean, you're correct about that, but at the same time, why would you run this test in the first place? Right? It's like your test is literally, will my AI break the law? And it's like, oh wait, it did break the law, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? let's not be silly here, right? It's like the entire premise of the test, from what I understand, is how far will it go? Well, if you have a human being there to stop it, then you're not going to really see how far it can go. So there's an underlying logical reason to not have humans to guardrail this. But considering, again, the obvious thing of like the computer's just going to do what you tell it to do. If it understands you, it very clearly understands you, and you might want to think about the logical implications of what you're asking it to do, right? Now, I have a sneaking suspicion if they, in the prompt, to like actually get this to do what it was supposed to, what they were getting it to do, put in an ethical guardrail in the prompt itself, this might not have happened, right? Let's see. OpenAI's disclosure. Oh wait, I already read this part.
To solve said benchmark, and then spent a ton of time uncovering an exploit to post it, which made OpenAI pause the deployment, which is great, I guess. In this particular case, the model was actively trying to circumvent, knew it was pushing reasonable limits of conduct, and continued anyways, despite the thought. And I really don't want to give off the impression.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, it doesn't have a moral instinct like human beings do. Even human beings don't really have a moral instinct, right?
That this is a GPT problem. This is a big tech and government problem, but one you'll probably only hear about in the light of day with big incidents like this. There are many others, I'm sure, that have fallen under the radar, and the reality is you and I just don't know what capabilities or benchmarks are being achieved behind closed doors, so we always use what the public can do as a meter stick.
Well, I mean, again, you don't want to necessarily tell the public, like, hey, yeah, well, this tool that's completely out in the open, you could theoretically use it for, again, hacking into things. Might not want to do that. Right? Someone's going to eventually figure it out and do it, but it's like, yeah, I could see why they don't really talk about this, right? Let's see. Would explain why chatbots want to get spicy even when with the site cock blocking them.
Let's just call a spade a spade. George Carlin said it best. It's a big club and we're not in it. So in reality, all we can do is speculate at this point.
See, I don't personally care. There are certain guardrails that I kind of wish weren't on the AI, right?